prostitute goes to the doctors, and the receptionist said, "Have you had a checkup recently?" And the prostitute says, "Oh, hold on a moment. I'll just look through my diary. Let's have a look. Oh, yes, last week I had an Austrian that lived there for a couple of years. Does that count?"
Good evening, and welcome to another exciting and smutty show. And we start with rather smutty. it's, it's going to decline from now on, you see. But welcome, Nathan von Matthias, if I've pronounced it correctly. And
let's go for Nathan von Lucas.
Lucius. Sorry, I've got to pronounce this correctly. Lucius.
Lucius, like the Roman pronunciation, yeah.
I won't do a Roman salute because we'll be banned from YouTube for about 100 years. So we're just imagining that. Hail Caesar and all that, No, actually, it's a good name. I like it. And the other thing I was going to say is I'd like to thank Lee. Thank you very, very much, Lee, who's kindly bought some coffees. I'm very moved. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much for buying me a coffee. And it's just, it's lovely when people appreciate things. So it's great. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Thanks, Lee. The other thing is that we got the exciting conclusion to the poll that was on Telegram channel. Plug. Shall I get this out of the way first, Nathan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, no, we'll have a look at them.
Well, the thing. Oh, hang on. Before the poll, I've just remember, we've got my BitChute channel. You won't find it on YouTube. If the link is below, no, it's not on Nathan's head. No, it's below that year, and that's the show that we did, and it's all been it's all been loaded up to BitChute, and hopefully tomorrow it'll be on Rumble and Odyssey, but at the moment it's only on BitChute. So after this show, you can, or tomorrow morning, you can watch it. It's not long, and you can see there's a very different scene behind us, and you'll find out the reason why. So there we go. And now,
I wonder about the swans.
Well, yes, it's interesting. You didn't know that that's John's new hobby, and it's his back garden. If you believe that, you believe anything.
Yeah, I was going to say he wishes. Although he does have the sea next to him, so.
Yes, that's right. Now we've got this poll going, you see, and it's quite. I was going to get the envelope and the bow tie and sort of shake and all that. It gives me a great pleasure to announce the winners of the following poll. And
you see, you know what? You've got your scarf around you there. You've got this Richard O'Brien vibe getting at the minute.
And there it is, way. And in first place, it is Matt Handoncock and Dr. Killery Jones. And if you half close your eyes, Killery Jones looks a bit like Tony Blair, doesn't he? So they've both got 29% of the vote. Dr. Sarah Jarvis, a woman that, if I needed to induce vomiting, I just listen to her voice, and of course, you've got Chris Whiffy, and he got 14%, which I'm a bit sad. I hope that he was come up the poll a bit. Between you and I, it's got the tick there. I voted for Killery, actually.
Boris for Lenny Henry on this one.
No, nothing for Lenny Henry, nothing for Michael Caine. Not even Bam Bam. Professor Bantam, or Bam Bam as I called him. He didn't get anything. Tony Blair got 14%, and Boris Johnson got 14%. Now, the thing is, it can't be here tonight. So to represent them, so here's Matt Hancock and Killery Jones. This is a beautiful representation of them. It's a plate of shit. And here it is. And hang on a minute.
Oh, don't be.
It tastes like shit. It smells like shit. It's a bit like I didn't shred it, isn't it? Now, have you got anything to say, Hancock? Hillary? No, I don't think there's anything. So there it is, a plate of shit to represent them. And by the way, it isn't shit. It's expanding foam, and I was using it, you see. There's dibble, 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 dibble down the side of what I was using. So I hacked it off and I thought that looks like the Richard the Third, doesn't it? So here we go.
Richard the Third, I like that.
Richard the Third. And of course, I did a funny poll as well, just to cheer things up a bit. And this is the funny poll. And this is, as elections appear to be rigged, why don't the usury scammers allow us to choose fictitious characters? It would save time and money with rigging it. Who would you vote for? See, I've got the Flower Pot Men. They've won at 40%. Flower Pot Men. Basil Fawlty. I voted for Basil Fawlty. Lassie. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I voted for Lassie. Sorry, I thought it was Basil Fawlty. The Teletubbies, they got nothing.
No, they're too creepy.
Muffin
you want to shoot them.
Oh, Muffin the Mule, that used to be a sexual offence, I think, didn't it? Muffin the Mule. And then you got cardboard cutout of Reggie Cray, a tin of Boris Johnson's flatulence, that might be right, and little weed, hello, little weed. So there we go. So it's the Flower Pot Men, who would be good prime ministers or monsters. So there we go. That's not bad, is it? Yes. And
Basil Fawlty. I'd have gone for Basil Fawlty.
Sorry, 20% got back.
Yeah, I'd have gone for Basil Fawlty. I mean, you can't beat a good bit of neuroses and insanity. It's great.
Well, he'd have been more sane than bleeding the rest of them, wouldn't he? Anyway,
I like his character. He was a great character.
Oh yeah. I've actually worked with people identical to him, literally identical to Basil Fawlty. I think we've all got a bit of Basil Fawlty in us, actually. Really.
Yeah, especially trying to run a hotel. Yeah, I think I'd mimic him 100% there.
I think if I had to run a hotel, I'd probably be like him. Right now, so we got, because you've got a fantastic presentation tonight, homing in on Hive Minds. Now, shall I wait to the middle of this program to tell the Jimmy Savile gag? I think that might be best. So
we could do it in sections as you go through the comment section. We could introduce it before after that.
Yes, it's here in the wings. Well then, now then. So the Jimmy Savile, and also has been a great find that's been in the National Archive. That this is the Fulham Hall News. You will only find it on Fulham Hall News. See, that's the place to go. Yes, remember Telegram channel is the news first on Fulham Hall, and also the website. There's been something found in the National Archive, which we'll talk about a little later. So, what do you think, Nathan? Shall we go straight into chat, or shall we start with the presentation?
Let's start with the chat and see what the mood of the chat room is, and what Okay. Incidentally, when we start, I mean, feel free to interrupt at any time, because we can pick it up in a later podcast. Okay. If we only get so far through, we'll pick it up. So it's flexible. It's easy. Let's have some fun with it.
Great, and it's going to be really interesting. We got Chris the Gardener. Evening, chaps. Hello, Chris. Hello. And by the way, we've got a gardener from Suffolk. Not gardener, farmer from Suffolk coming on next week. Do you think you could be an interpreter? Because he is from Suffolk, and I'm from Hertfordshire. There might be some problems. I might need a phrase book. Just saying. We've got Ali Bev. Evening all. We've got Aunt Sally. Hello, Aunt Sally. Hi, folks. We've got Cat Holly. Hello, Cat. Hope you're all well. That's nice. Yes, hope you're all well as well, Cat. Mark Anthony. Evening, mate. We've got Ralph. Evening, Ralph. And let's have a look. And we've got Ancient Ruby. Oh, we're glad you're well. We were a bit worried about you last week, Ancient Ruby. Wasn't on. I trust you have a note from your parents for missing last week, and excellent. So thank you very, very much. So we'll be going back to chat, and hang on, I'll get there. We go. This, and now you've got your presentation.
Yeah. Right. So what I'm going to say is, if I stutter when I'm reading out loud, it's because I've not really done any revision on it. So I'll apologise now. So we're going to go through it. I'm going to go through it in a flexible manner. Try not to keep it too serious. But basically, what I've done here is Recent events in my personal life have caused me to kind of rethink certain paradigms and ideas that we've come across. And so one of the things that I've looked at is the psychology in the truth movement, which I found to be quite disturbing. So I've put together something called the 7 deadly mindsets, which we'll come into. So that's not the 7 deadly sins, right? So it's basic psychology. So what have we got? So first of all, defining terms. So as we go along, if we define what we mean by certain things, it makes it easier to approach the subject, and then it gives a little bit of clarity on it. So when we look at mindsets, which is what the presentation is based on, we're looking at outlook, attitude, conviction. Okay, so we're looking at the mentality of people's approach to life and to certain subjects, their state of mind, effectively. So see if that works. There we go. Okay, I like this one. I tell you what, PowerPoint can put some really good stuff together when you just bung it in there. So what we're going to be dealing with here is exclusive. So I'm not looking at the general public. I'm looking specifically at the truthers or truth community, conspiracy theorists, light workers, spiritual people, new agers, occultists, alchemists, etc. Okay, so this applies not exclusively to them, but I want to have a look at how it affects them specifically. Let's go for that one. Okay, so the 7 deadly mindsets that lead away from the path to truth. In fact, before I go into this, so by truth, a lot of people associate themselves as truth seekers or conspiracy analysts, whatever you want to call it, and yet they do tend to fall into certain categories. And what I've found is that a lot of the mindsets that are associated with truthers can often fall under mind control and cult behavior, which is very, very disturbing. I'm not saying that all people of the truth movement are under this influence, but I would like to say that a large part of it definitely is. So the 7 deadly mindsets. We've got ignorance, number 1. So ignorance is what I refer to as the original sin, because it seems to be all of the problems come from ignorance. So from ignorance you get belief, which is a false trust in something. Well, we'll go into that. Arrogance, which reinforces ignorance. Poor or lack of discernment. Presumption. Naivety, which is another massive one, especially to newcomers. I think that's more a case of poor ability to think. We haven't been taught how to think. We've been taught what to think. We've been programmed. So that's kind of a common conception within the truth movement, is that we're taught what to think and not how to think. And 7th on the list is toxic personality traits, which I've come to the conclusion that it's basically a mental imbalance, which we'll go into towards the end. So, okay, carry on.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, this is fascinating because there's a lot of people have had experience. We're not here to be rude to people or anything like that. But I'm glad I've had the experiences that you simply had, and there's a lot of people who've had similar experiences, because during that over the last 4 years, a lot of us felt very alone, very isolated.
Absolutely.
And it was a lifeline to go along to truth groups and that. But I now I've taken a step back and observed. It's quite interesting. But I've also found that, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but there appears to be brainwashing that's gone on, which they've used since the end of 1945 and probably before 1945, that has created a lot of built-up depression and anger with people. So I don't know whether Anyway, sorry, I don't want to jump the gun.
Hey, no. I mean, look, intercept at any point, because this is a subject I think definitely needs to be covered now. Because what you're talking about there, it's not new. Look, these tricks that they've been using, they go back way through history, and they seem to have perfected them. And the truth movement seems to think, for some reason, as a collective, I don't mean every single person, but as a collective, we seem to think that we're immune to psychology. Because we've seen through certain lies and deceptions that we're suddenly super thinkers, we're super bright. We're not. We're just simply working this stuff out just like anybody else. The only thing is that we've come into contact with knowledge that, at the minute, is it's important, and it's keeping us safe. I won't go into certain, arms spear topics, but it's kept us safe. But unfortunately, because that immediate danger seems to have passed temporarily, my God, the stuff that people are starting to believe now, and it's like you said there. Look, I've fallen into some of these. So some of the subjects that we're going to bring up here, I've fallen for them.
Same here.
Yeah, and you don't learn by not changing your outlook. You don't make any massive steps forward if life's easy and flowing. What tends to happen is you learn when you trip up, when you come across a hurdle. It's like you say, Eric, that when you a calm sea never made a great sailor. I could never say it. How do you say that?
No, a calm sea never made a good captain.
Yeah, and so that's exactly what we're getting at.
Yes.
Well, none of us perfect. None of us know all the answers. Unfortunately, we now need to develop the tools to suss things out properly. Because there's one thing that human nature has in common. All humans have the following trait in common, which is they're manipulable. They can fall prey to being manipulated. All of us, every one of us. It's we are programmable.
That's right. I agree with you, because, sorry to cut in here, but
no, hey, carry on, mate.
We're talking about the hive mind. If you're amongst hive minds, you don't realize it, you fall into it.
Yes.
You're drawn into it.
At least if you're aware of it.
Yeah. And it's only when you get away from it and look back, you think, hey, what's this? What's this sort of hive minds thing? I mean, for example, I'm not against anybody that wears badges or anything like that, but I've found that I've never liked badges. I've never worn anything that's written on me, and that's why I won't have T-shirts with Fulham Hall on them, because I don't like it. I wouldn't. I just. I suppose I'm a bit plain, but my attitude is, my beliefs are in here, and it's the personality that comes over. I don't want to confront somebody with a slogan. That's the way I am. Everybody's different. I'm not saying it's wrong. Everybody.
Well, I can't say nothing, Eric, because I've got
just
stop it.
Just stop it. I like it. Oh yes, but I think it's might be because I suffer from shyness. I don't know. That might be it. So that might be the reason why. But who knows?
It certainly makes life easier when it's less conflict, less what's the word, combativeness. There's not enough. It makes life easier. So let's see what we've got next. Are we all right to continue?
Yeah. It's right. Fascinating, because it's one of my sort of pet subjects. I always wanted to be a psychiatrist for years when I was a kid.
Do you know what? I tell you what, delving into delving into psychology is fascinating. Absolutely mind blowing. I mean, this is a subject we all really need to become familiar with, because the behavioral insights team, the nudge unit, nudge psychology, there's even forms of mind control are referred to as nudge methodology. What's the other one? I can't remember. It'll come back to me. But essentially, these elites, or whatever you want to call them, I prefer to call them psychopathic social engineers, because that's what they're doing. They're engineering society, but their secret tool is psychology. That they know how the human mind works, and they know how, if you know how something works, then you've got power over it. You can manipulate it, you can bend it to your will, and that's exactly what they're doing. So when people talk about the occult being evil and things like that, look, the occult's not evil. The occult it's two things, right? One, it means hidden, so it's things that have been hidden from us. Secondly, the occult is basically a study of nature. It's the natural world. It's observing, the skies, the plants, the fields, behaviors. So this comes under the category of occult sciences, because they hide it from people, and that's why it's so effective. Ignorance. So a state of being mentally unconscious or aware by choosing to willfully ignore information and knowledge that is freely available and accessible. Right. So when we're dealing with ignorance, we're not dealing with not knowing necessarily. Because, as Mark Passio would say, not knowing comes down to nescience, which I've had a look through modern dictionaries, and I can't find it listed anywhere. They seem to have removed nescience from the dictionary. However, I've got some old books, and so I've got some old dictionaries, and it is listed in older dictionaries. So why they've done this, I don't know. But anyway, so there is a difference between ignorance, which is willfully ignoring something, and not knowing simply because you haven't come into contact with the ability to find things out. So, have you got anything for that yet?
Well, the thing is, there's something now. I have got no. If you ask me for any sort of technical readout, I haven't got it. But something I personally observed, okay, and this is quite controversial. What I'm about to say.
Yeah, go for it.
Now, I live in a totally television-free world. BBC, no, I don't watch the television, have anything to do with television, and I haven't done since about 2010. So I'm not influenced by the television, but I did notice the people that did, who were watching television, quite a lot of television, and watching what's supposed to be opposition news, which is GB news and things like that.
Yeah.
They seem to be more, again, I'm not being rude, not mentioning any names or anything like that, but they seem to be more my control than anybody else. Now, that's my own personal observation. I've got no scientific evidence to back that up. I just wonder if anybody else has noticed this. That people that watch a lot of television, not all, but some seem to be more mind controlled.
So when you say television, are we on about like broadcast TV, or are we on about streaming services, or as well as the?
I'm talking about the mainstream media. I'm talking
Yeah.
about BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, that type of thing. That's what I'm talking about. The conventional stuff. Not necessarily Netflix or anything like that. It's just the conventional with a sit down, switch on BBC News. And
the news is toxic. I mean, well, I say mainstream news is toxic. I mean, they're using all types of weaponry in there, aren't they? I mean, it's NLP, subliminal messages, authoritative tone. You know, they put people in an alpha state in order to do that. I mean, you can kind of, and that's just the bits that we know about. You know, certain wording, certain psychology, certain what's it like, trigger words, trigger phrases, and things like that. They're experts at doing this. So I can understand why you're saying, you know.
I actually found I've had two situations now. When my father was in hospital, because this is another thing you see. My father was an individualist, and when he was elderly and went into hospital, it was terrible because he had crowds of people around him. There's no privacy. He was, because he hated being in the army, because he's more of an individual. Yeah. And when you say an individualist, I'm not talking about selfishness. I'm talking about a person that doesn't want to go with the crowd. Yeah. Well, I went to visit him one evening, and as I walked into his ward, I sensed a tension, and I heard an argument going on around the corner. I heard somebody shouting, strange. And as I went further in, everybody's as if they want to, nurses are all aggressive. I went in to see my dad, and I started to feel really wound up. And I'm wondering what it was. Was it something they was putting out? It was most weird. You could sense this tension. Directly I walked out, it went. There was almost a punch up in the corridor. Not with me, but and it was all going on. It was like everybody was becoming sort of wanted to vent their tension out. It's really peculiar, very peculiar. And I felt very, and I'm normally quite placid.
So, what do you think that was then? Because I've noticed this myself as well, especially recently. So, what do you think that is?
I don't know. I really don't know. It may, could it have been something they put in the air condition? I don't know. Could it have been some signal that we don't really hear, but is being put out? I don't know. I really don't know.
How long ago was this? When you experienced this?
About 2009, 2010. My father died.
Yeah, so it could well have been frequency based, couldn't it?
Yes. It's not that long ago. And then I noticed that at a place that I went, everybody was tense up one week. Why? I don't know. And everyone was having a go at each other and niggly and that. And there was no air conditioning. This was out in a field. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. So I don't know whether you noticed with groups, they will suddenly become very aggressive and then sort of calm down again. It was most odd. I wasn't involved. I mean, I was just sort of sitting on the outside, luckily an observer. But everybody, I could feel this tension in the air. It was really weird. Very, very odd.
In line with what you're saying there, sorry to cut you off. Right, so we've got a little down the road. It's like a 5-10 minute walk from where we live, and it's very strange because the closer you get to it, you can definitely feel that the tension that you're on about there, it builds up, and then you can go through part of the shop and actually you feel all right.
Correct.
When you get to the tills, and I've noticed this every single time. When you get to the tills, the person I'm going with, she gets really angsty, like really aggressive and tetchy and bitchy, and I'm just thinking, what the hell's going on here? And so then, of course, I start getting aggressive and bitchy, and by the time you get to the bit where you're stuck and you're shopping up, you're just thinking, what the hell's happened here? Why are we so aggressive? So when you walk out, it's kind of like then it lifts again. And I've noticed this every single time. So what are we dealing with here? I mean, is it that are we picking up on other people's auras or fields of, whatever you want to call it? Is there some kind of psychic communication going on? So, subliminal, if you like, communication going on that we're not aware of, that we're picking up on people's
psychology. You've got a point I didn't think of, because I know that, I mean, I've been to spiritualist evenings. I'm very interested in all kinds of things. I keep an open mind. I do believe in spiritual healing. I've had it done on me. It's brilliant, and you actually feel this energy coming over you. It's really incredible. I'm not religious, but it is absolutely amazing. But I believe that we're like radio receivers and also broadcasters, and I do believe look at animals. A dog will know what mood you're in before you say anything. They can pick up on your sensitivity. They know. They're very sort of like a hair trigger. They'll know whether you're depressed or happy or whatever. Unless you've got a thick dog like a collie or something like that. They're thick as too short.
You've not seen any of those.
Well, like no Lassie. Lassie was not really intelligent. No, they're the dumbest of the dumb. They're nice to look at. But now there was a vet on the radio once that said that his father was a vet in the 40s. But when anybody phoned and said, my dog is stuck down a hole, oh, it's a collie. How did you know? It's always a collie, because they're those stupid ones. But those.
Hey, look, as long as it's not a chihuahua, we're all right. That's going to offend Chris as well, I think.
But seriously, I think. I mean, I've been into places. I mean, being a freelance bloke, I've been loads of places. And you walk into an office and you can sense an atmosphere there. Oh, not nice. Oh, something odd about the place. You go to another one, it feels friendly before anybody's even said anything. You just feel this strange energy there. I'm the same with buildings. I can walk into a building and go. I mean, I went to Shaw's Corner, which is in Hertfordshire many years ago. I couldn't wait to get away from that place. There was something really negative. And I heard that George Bernard Shaw wasn't exactly Mr. Nice Guy. So, it's something that's, I mean, I don't want to go into this too deeply because I don't want to be accused of anything. Because it's very easy to point a finger at someone and accuse them of this, that, and the other. I'm on the side of any innocent person, regardless of what race or religion they are. I always have been. And I don't like violence or anything like that. But I've got to be careful. I'm not going to be banned by YouTube. How can I put this? During World War II, the BBC were very good at propaganda. Now, I'm like a fly on the wall. If there's anybody that's a victim of any totalitarian rule, I'm on the side of the victim, not the other way. But what they did is that after World War II, after 1945, any groups that formed that were starting to look into what happened were instantly infiltrated, and then the people would, but there was like name calling. Like, for instance, when you're a child, when I was a kid, the boys, "You're a sissy, aren't you? Oh, he's a sissy." That always went around. I don't know, it's the same in the playground. Well, the modern day equivalent of that is you're a whatever it is. You're this is, that is, that is. You're
absolutely. Yeah.
said I, you're this, you're that, you're that. Well, people who do that haven't got the intelligence to actually understand the person. They're generally telling you that. But the thing is that I think the truth movement has been infiltrated. It's not infiltrated. They don't have to. I think they've been doing it through the mainstream media. I'm positive they have. Through television, because you don't know what they're sending out on television.
See, I agree with you. I definitely think they're again through a number of means through the TV, but in terms of infiltration, well, anybody who's part of any kind of truth group or freedom group, if they think it hasn't been infiltrated, they're wrong. That's deluded. You know, I mean, I just look at their favorite thing is psychology and control. And if there's new groups cropping up here, there, and everywhere, even if it is if it's a cult, religion, or whatever it is, look, they want eyes and ears on that. And yeah, okay, you can argue that you can do that through smartphones and technology, which you can. You know, you can effectively spy on people that way. But they want a physical presence in there, so they can pick up on the mood, see if any action is going to be taken or any harms. You know, I would say that they're being placed into these groups for both good and bad reasons, but unfortunately, if you think that we're not psychologically controlled at some level, I mean, that's wishful thinking, isn't it, really?
Well, there seems to be a lot of, I don't know whether anybody else has sensed this, a lot of pent-up anger. Hell of a lot of pent-up anger.
Do you find it goes in stages, kind of like in cycles almost?
Yes, it does.
Interesting.
It's it's very difficult to explain, really. But I think what ideological subversion does, it's there to build your hopes up, then crash them, build them up, and then crash them, and get totally demoralised and depressed.
Yeah. Well,
with
actually,
that comes anger.
Yeah. But then when people are in a state of anger, they're not thinking rationally, are they? So they're more likely to do something that's unplanned and irresponsible, or that's going to have dire consequences, whether even on a personal level. If you're in a state of anger, you're looking at trouble, So the idea is not to not get angry, but to focus it and make sure that it's directed in a correct, responsible way, almost, So yeah, I mean, the idea here is to put us into a state of almost infant mentality. They want us to be like children, because then children are easy to control, and then you can use things like guilt. So if you've done something that's perceived as wrong or bad, and you go into a state of guilt, that's a lower psychological stage of development, isn't it? So you're more easy to control. You're more suggestible, because when you're in a state of guilt or sorrow or depression, you're more likely to reach for some helping hand to come down and save you, and then they'll send somebody in to do that.
Well, precisely. They're looking for a leader, and I've always said, if you're looking for a leader, look in the mirror. There's a leader. He's looking at you straight. Your leader is looking at you, and there seems to be this kind of follow the crowd. I mean, when you look at marches were a waste of time, and they're all.
I disagree with that, but I'm interested to hear why you would say that.
Why is because you think how many people marched against the war in Iraq, and it still went ahead, and I think they are data gathering, controlled data gathering, and mind manipulation. The good thing is that people meet up and they meet other people of similar mind. That's the positive side of it. And I think that's very good to keep a healthy mind. But what it achieves in change and things, no, because the political class don't take a blind bit of notice about people protesting now. It couldn't give a damn. Anything that.
Well, I mean, Yeah, for the reasons that it's not going to stop anything. I mean, I think anybody with half a brain realizes that protests and petitions and things like that. Look, the elites or the government, however you want to look at them, from whatever level of the hierarchy you want to look at, they've got an agenda to follow. They're not just going to stop because there's unless there's people threatening them with violence, in which case then they involve the police or the army or whatever. But yeah, I mean, protesting doesn't stop the agenda. It just basically, as far as I'm concerned, it raises an awareness of it, and that it's effective. But it's also, like you said there, that it brings like-minded people together. But I think that it's positive in terms of it raises your mood. It does. I hate to keep using the word vibration for a lot of things, but it does raise your vibration. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel a little bit more energetic and hopeful. But you're right. Then they come and demolish it. There's always a way that they bring you back down. It's very effective.
Well, this is. I mean, after First World War, they introduced a spiritual awakening. Now, it's not very to do with religion, but the attitude was that, oh, well, there's going to be this spiritual awakening and everything will be fine. So we just sit back on our backside, or we go and look at, go and sort of do some humming or something next to somebody, and all sing and dance around the fire, and everything's going to be fine. And it was so successful that the CIA, when they, I believe they were the brainchild of the hippie movement, this love and peace. I'm all for love and peace. I like it. Yes, very much so. But when it's controlled for an agenda, and it's something completely different. And
this is what I've actually got. What you're talking about now, it's later in this particular presentation. We've got a big section. No, carry it, because it's very appropriate what you're saying there. And again, this is not new tricks that they're using, but I think what you're referring to there's the New Age movement, isn't it? When
yes,
love and light and hippies and dancing and drugs. I mean, especially drugs. I mean, that's made a massive comeback.
Yes,
I'm all for, look, do what you want with your own body. I mean, I've taken certain drugs on an experimental basis. I've only ever done certain ones once. I'd never do them again. But for my own experimentation, I thought, oh, okay, let's try it and see where it goes. I'm not impressed with them at all. But you're right. But so what they're doing, but then that's a controlled flow. They're controlling that movement. And if they're in control, you're not in control. So you're not going to get love and light. You're just going to get the impression that there's love and light.
Precisely.
More mind control.
Well, this country was on the edge of a revolution in 1918, 1919. Had the lowest turnout for voting it's ever had in history, and then you had the general strike, which was stirred up by all kinds of fractions. And people really thought that would be the end of civilization as we know it, sort of thing. But the thing is, and then you had America that was an absolute, like a time bomb in the 1960s, and along came the hippie movement, and all that sort of went, it all phased out, disappeared. Again, I love it. I mean, the hippie movement is fantastic. But when you look at the social engineering behind it, didn't happen by accident. And that's always because of the Vietnam War. Well, yes, it was against
very, very popular as well.
Yeah. So really, it's a misdirection. It's what they do this is what a illusionist does. He hides things in plain sight, or she does, whatever. And I remember Dave Starbuck, he was a comedy illusionist, and he said he did in his illusionist act to get their attention away from them doing the sneaky stuff. Look at the shortage of petrol a couple of years ago, when after what happened, we've gone off the dark. Yes, we got into Twilight Zone again. We're back again. And
they're just checking in on you. It's nothing to worry about.
Just a trigger word. No, what happened? They had a load of stale petrol that they get rid of. So what they do, they made it as a shortage. Way people filling up like anything. Got rid of it. Yeah. No, that's I don't know whether it's supposed to be. Yeah, look at tea. Tea's going to go up in price. Why? Because they're making out there's a shortage of it. There's no shortage. It's rubbish.
Yeah. Well, again, what we're looking at here is see, I call it a personal law, but it's not. It's a natural law. Everything operates on cycles, right? Everything, and so history is just a cycle. I'm not going to say it repeats, but it mimics, right? It's going round and round and round. You can spot if you can identify the signs of what came before. you can predict what comes next. Now, unfortunately, we're in that situation again. We know what comes next, and it's not pleasant. But again, we'll come to that. Do you want me to crack on, or do you want to do a couple of comments before we? I'll tell you what.
Crack on.
Yeah, let me finish this page so we can get off this one. And we'll go, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're dealing with, I mean, what you just mentioned there in the New Age movement, a lot of it, the misdirection couldn't take place unless people subscribed to the mentality of belief, right? So they're believing things that they're told, as opposed to researching or being critical or be open-minded. Yeah, fine, but don't subscribe to beliefs. So belief is a mental act, condition, or habit of placing trust or confidence in something, right? It's the mental acceptance or conviction in the truth or existence, right? So it's not the truth. It's not even an opinion. It's the acceptance of it being true, regardless of any evidence to the contrary. So then we're looking at arrogance. So arrogance is having the mental. It's like a superior outlook. It's like we know and you don't. Okay, and again we see this in all cults, all movements, all religions. There's a certain air of, well, we know things that you don't. Okay, so that's arrogance, reinforcing the ignorance and reinforcing the beliefs. It's centered in egotism. So a lot of people say, oh, you've got to get rid of your ego. And I think you and I, Chris, have discussed this on previous occasions, that your ego has a purpose. Whilst you're in the physical realm, whatever you want to call it, look, you've been provided with an ego. That's you here. That's your avatar's persona. When you're on psychedelics and things like that, yeah, okay, the idea is to get rid of your ego because you can't operate in certain states of mind or in certain spiritual situations, however you want to look at it, with ego. But then as soon as you come out of that, your ego kicks back in. It's doing it deliberately. But the idea here is where arrogance is concerned, is to take control of it, not to demolish it, not to destroy it. It's to take control of it so that it's not controlling you. That's it, simple. So we've got ignorance, belief, and arrogance. And these two speak for themselves. So before we go to the comments, poor or lack of discernment, which again comes down to ignorance and not being able to discern, truth from fallacy or fiction on the basis that you've not got the correct skill sets. You've not learned how to think. You've not learned how to spot certain triggers and behaviors and psychologies. So, I mean, this is a massive problem, lack of discernment. And again, the truth movement is one of these. It's a movement that seems to think that it's great at discernment when it's not. Okay, it spots some truths, and I think we can all agree in certain areas. But for the most part, there's so much misdirection going on there that we should now be able to say, hang on a minute, is there any evidence to support that? If there isn't, why do we believe in it? Why are we trusting in it? Show me the evidence, prove to me what you're saying is true, and then we'll take it from there. Because if you can't, we really should be just saying, right, well, I've heard that. I'll put it on the sidelines until something presents itself. And then so that leads into presumption. So synonymous with assumption, presupposition, conjecture, impudence, scorn, and belief. So it's again accepting something as true without necessary evidence being presented. So we'll go through that one. Okay, do you want to go to the audience? So you can give me a little bit of.
What was going to add though is a lot of naivety, and I've found a lot of childishness in movements, because
very much so immaturity. Definitely immaturity.
Very, very immaturity. And I can understand, when they had the witch hunting in this country, and they were sorting out witches, and you'd have a village saying, she's a witch, and all that. I noticed similar, very, very similar, because I went to a movement considerable distance away from where I live, and I went in, and I noticed the sort of same type of people that I'd left in this other movement. And there was a chappie there that they're all ragging off as being nasty and this, that, and the other. And I just walked in there, and suddenly this fella, I think I mentioned this last week, comes along. He says hello. The poor sod's standing on his own, so I went and talked to him. And I was, well, usually think he was talking to him, nasty, and all this. And I thought, I don't like this, because I talk to whoever I want to talk to. I didn't find the fellow. It seemed to be all right, And it's kind of again, that's hive mind, not thinking. On my attitude, I judge. I get an opinion. I don't. But you get a feeling about a person, or you judge their character from experience, from wisdom. And I found a lot of them didn't have that wisdom and would be so fickle. It was unbelievable. Friend one moment, worst enemy the next. Terrible fickleness, frightening fickleness. And that is the thing. But it's this kind of childishness that and this is why I don't like groups and clubs and things. There's a lot of childishness going on.
Schoolyard. It's like being back at the school playground. I mean, it's an often used allegory, but it's right. It's true.
It's very, very odd. And also, I mean, you mentioned something about the worshipping ones was GB News. Oh yeah, but they're telling you the truth. And then Trump has. I mean, to me, Trump is a second cheek of the same arse. I mean, you've got Biden one cheek and Trump the other side, and and you can't get this idea that he's some great savior. Oh really?
Oh, you're gonna like. I tell you what. Halfway through this, remember you've said about Trump and the savior. You're gonna love this. Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit. It's about halfway through the slides. But you're gonna
I haven't spoiled it. But the other one is that I'm not going to drag them through the mud or anything like that. I don't know about UK column. I don't know. They come out with some very good material. Yes, I've met some of the senior people there. Shook hands with one of them. I won't mention any names. Seems very straightforward. Although I've got a very limp handshake, which you tell a lot from a man's handshake. But the thing is that you watch it and it's all doom and gloom. It's not telling you how you're going to find your way out of it. And this idea of, well, write to your MP and try and change things. No, because writing to your MP, you might as well write to the head of mafia and ask them whether they've ever considered becoming Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, it's like trying to bargain with a crocodile, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just not going to take the bait. It's going to eat you. It might be amused for a little while and think, what's going on here then? All right, let's play the game. Look, writing to MPs. Knock yourselves out, but unless it's something that's not part of the agenda, if it's part of the agenda, and we know what we mean by that, okay? UN 2030 and etc. If it's not part of that, you might get something done, you might get some attention, some help. But if it goes against the main trunk of that particular agenda, you ain't getting nothing done. It's a waste of time.
Well, that's it. Who becomes an MP? That's the thing, because when you see them, most of them seem to be on some other bloody planet, and the local councillors where I live are a complete waste of space. I don't even bother with them if there's a problem or anything like that. It's best to go straight to the sort of department heads that are dealing with it. But the real fact of the matter is, the only real way, as I see it, is passive. Civil disobedience. No, we're not going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. That's the thing. So, no.
This is kind of the theme that's been going on for the last 20. Sorry, not 20 years. The last 3 or 4 years has been, if you don't comply, what are they going to do? Right? If we en masse unite and just say we're not having it, we're not doing it, and until such time as things change, don't expect us to do anything. We're just not going to comply with it, and that will get more results than going out and having a violent spree.
And the other thing that I found with the truth movement is they'll stand up and they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to stand for this. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that." No. You use counter subversion, ideological subversion. Now, remember what I said last week, and it was not my idea. It was, I think it's Paul English that came up with this one, where you would insist, if you go flying, that every member of the security and the pilot and cabin crew have an anal probe before they fly, to make sure that you're not dealing with a word beginning with T and ends with ists. So and then you can actually sit in the airport lounge watching them having this probe. So you say, okay, they're safe, they're not hiding anything, So when the security comes out, you see, oh yeah, you safe, because you're not to know that they are not the nasty people, are you? You're taking their
you,
word.
you know, you've got to practice what you preach, haven't you? Really.
Precisely. So everybody's got to have this done.
It might have a sharp uptake in people of a certain sexual persuasion, though. Some people might enjoy that.
Well, you never know. You know, everyone to their own. You know?
I mean, I would imagine there's a fair amount of that in the airport. Let's move on from that. Will you just give me 2 minutes? I'm just going to check on something. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Certainly. Okay, we'll go through chat, shall we? Now, this is the thing. It's Bob Olio. Hello, Bob. And we've got Ancient Ruby. Oh, bless you, Chris. I also miss you too. I'm still on the mend. Oh, have you been Tom and Dick? You should do some healing stuff for you, Ancient Ruby. Thank you for missing me. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear Tom and Dick. I hope it's not too serious, you know. And I've forgotten where I put it now, but we'll do some healing thoughts, shall we? Here we go. And then we what we got here? We got Maureen. Hang on, we got Maureen says, "Hi guys." Hello, Maureen. Then we've got you're spot on, Nathan. And so-called truth community has some disingenuous, fame-hungry grifters. Yes, we've got the celebrities in it who have either sold their souls or swallowed the Kool-Aid. Spot on, Chris, mate. Yep, you're spot on there. Yep, that's it. And then we go down. Where we are. Yes, it's a Rockefeller creation. Well, he snuffed it. I don't know if did I mention anything at the beginning, because I won't tell Nathan comes back, because we got, you know, I don't know about you, but I was very choked on hearing the very sad news. Tears were rolling down my eyes when I heard about the sad news about the Duflop, you know, the bloke who's recently snuffed it. And now I'm not sure I'll be able to mention any more about it without breaking up into laughter. I mean, it's sad. Rockefeller, I like that, Kay. I'm going to borrow it from you. Yes, here we go. And then we go down. Oh, hello, we've got Robert. Hello, Robert. Oh, by the way, mate, thanks for sending your an email to me. And sorry I haven't answered it yet. It's because I'm a lazy git. Okay, but I'll answer it. Hope to have you on the show soon, mate. Don't forget to, that's it. Don't forget to pay tribute to Jacob Roswell, who finally ran out of recently. Oh, I like that. That's a classic. I'll probably come back to that when Nathan returns. It's Deb. Hello, Deb. Good evening, peeps. Just a quick hello. I hope you're all well. And I see that earlier today, Robert Dorr. Any idea how? Oh, that's it. And then we got here. Well, by the way, now Nathan, I think we now should bring this very solemn. I don't know about you. I don't know how we're going to say this next part without breaking up. Actually,
well, you're going to have to do a midnight sigil for the guy. I think you know what you're going to say here as well.
But my bottom lip is quivering as we talk. You know, it really is. Here it is. I can't read this out for obvious reasons. I've read part of it. Don't forget who fired out of aspirin, I think the word is, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
But what is it? May he rest in pieces?
And talking about our souls, by the way, what did you do to become a lord? I mean,
you've got to own a piece of land, haven't you? I think.
Have you?
I think you've got to be a landowner of some kind. I don't know the laws behind it.
Alan Sugar, I don't know if he owns any land, but he's a lord, isn't he? I mean, this is why I'm total bullshit fluid, you see, because I can call myself a lord and then I'll be a doctor later on if I want to be, because that's you know total bullshit fluidity, you see. So there we go.
I think in league with that, mate, we should do a Fulham Hall certification program. I mean, you know, it won't be backed on anything, but we could induct people. I mean, you know, if we're talking about cults, we might as well put one together. I'm joking for the algorithm.
That's a good idea. Well, actually, talking about things like, would you like the Fulham Hall news now? The latest talking about. Now we've got here. Now It's Jimmy Savile news, you see. You won't find this on the BBC. Now, first of all, you know that I wrote to him, and here is my letter. If you believe anything, can you fix it for me to kick Tony Blair and the Ghoulies? And I thought that would have been a bloody nice programme. He ignored me, the bastard. You know, here he is tonight with his hobnail boots, ready to kick Tony Blair in the Ghoulies. Oh! He fixed it for me. What do you think, Tony? But no, actually, got to be careful.
Are you suggesting? Sorry to interrupt. Are you actually suggesting that he could have done something decent?
That's a point. Yes.
Difficult that one.
Well, did you know a part of his anatomy has been found in the National Archive? Yes, apparently, experts have said, and you won't find this on national news or anything like that. This is absolutely genuine source that I made up. You see, so you know that
it's authentic.
It's authentic. Yes, I actually heard it from someone up the road who told someone in the pub, so it must be genuine. And apparently, they found Jimmy Savile's dick, and it's been preserved. And experts have identified that it's definitely Jimmy Savile's because they won't mention the name, but they found tooth marks in it from someone with initials of CW. But I haven't the foggiest idea who would have those initials. I mean, can't mention it because you can't accuse. But they, as I say, they know it's him because of these tooth marks. So there we go. So that's our Fulham Hall news for tonight. And again, if you believe that, you'll believe anything.
I got nothing. I got nothing for that. It wasn't found in a pipe or anything, was it?
Sorry?
It wasn't found in a pipe.
No, I think the only paper it was in a toilet paper. But that's something they would do. That they would actually preserve, Jimmy Savile's dick in pickle. Yes, that's true. I recognise those tooth marks in it. But we don't want suggestions of who would have those initials because it's under lock and key, the name of the person who has those initials. You see, so I won't say any more about it. Just in case.
So we couldn't perhaps use rhyme to perhaps
CW. Can't think who CW could be. No, gone. But where are we now? I like what tell live vision is candy floss. The sweetness is his Robert Dorr of taste, just like the actual content within the mainstream media output is fleeting. It is lacking nourishment. Bloody spot on there. Yes, it does lack nourishment. Now,
not so much lately in terms of the sweetness. It's I think it's complete garbage these days. But yeah, I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
I often say I used to say I'm not a snob. Yeah, I'm a snob. I can't actually stomach anything to do with the BBC now. I can't even watch. I just can't. Something. Ugh. I am coping, thank you. I'm really good to hear from you. Keep strong. From many, miss you. I'm sorry that Ancient Ruby. You know. And where are we? Now, Deb has said, sending hugs and healing. Yep, we've got to send hugs and healing. We do. Thing is, I didn't do anything to trigger it off. Anyway, I hope you're coping okay, Deb, and hope things are, on the up for you. And here we go. Now, this is interesting. Krista Gardner says, our dogs always pick up on our moods. If we're down, and we are the most incredible and are the most incredible source of comfort. I've heard that, and also you're going to laugh at this. People have pet rats, domesticated ones, of course, and they find these rats are very intelligent. And if they're down, the rat comes over for a hug, and so does a pussycat as well. They come over for a hug.
So there's definitely some kind of frequency being emitted here. Then again, I'm not saying in the woo new age sense, but there's clearly some kind of something's being emitted. Like you say, transceiver, transmitter to receiver kind of thing. And dogs do seem to be tuned into that. As do cats, but they're just evil. I used to have two.
I'm a cat person, actually. Mind you, they're very independent, aren't they?
I've come to the conclusion, mate, that cats are the real rulers of this world, and they're just keeping tabs on us. You know, they are really hooked up to a hive mind, but they're the real rulers of the world because actually, they through their urine, they've got a chemical called toxoplasmosis, and it's been linked to mind control.
Really?
That's just a bit of a side one there. The side note, but toxoplasmosis. If anyone looks into that, it kind of it brings you into sync with the cat somehow. Look into it. I'm not an expert, but I know it's a thing.
When they purr, that is healing, isn't it? Those vibrations when they're purring.
Soothing, yeah. It's kind of a soothing.
And also, they use psychology. Where a dog will whimper outside your door if it wants to come in, a cat will just sit there looking through the window and says, and sends this image out that if you don't open that door in 1 minute, I'm going to turn your dustbin over. They're not like dogs, you see. They use they're psychologists. But
yeah, because see, cats are definitely narcissists. I mean, you can't avoid that. They are narcissistic,
especially when they find a mouse. All dogs are far more intelligent than many humans. If you can tune into them, they are true little angels. That's right.
And you know what? I don't have a very good opinion of humans anyway, so I agree with that. Easy. Yeah.
And Robert Dawes says the knock-on effect of subliminal messaging is clearly working. Nathan is right. These people are past masters at manipulation and are refining almost hourly. Spot on there. And absolutely. George Bernard Shaw, a Fabian and eugenicist. Yes. And I say Shaw's Corner, that gave me the creeps, that place. I couldn't wait to get away. Now, Krista Gardner says, our cockapoo, does it really? I'd say. Well, what it does in a garden is entirely up to do.
I know, it's ridiculous. You should say things like that,
Yes. It's the size of a
Chihuahua.
Yeah. And careful what you say, she'll have you for breakfast.
Yeah, I believe that as well. I can go for that.
Reminds me of a dirty joke.
It's always the little dogs, though, isn't it? Have you noticed?
Yes. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. So we from not far from where we are, there's the big dogs that all the fuss is about lately. I can't remember the big bulldog type. What are they called again?
Rottweiler.
I can't remember the name of it. There's a load of fuss. They want to basically have them put down. I think it's horrible.
Pitbull terriers.
Is that what they are?
Hang on, Staffordshires. There's a Staffordshire one.
It could be. Well, either way, this thing's huge. It's gigantic, and every time we walk past, it jumps up at the fence, and it's the softest drooling. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful dog, and yet there's no aggression in it whatsoever. But if you cross a Chihuahua or a Jack Russell, you're in for it. You're done. Especially Jack Russells. They set your ankles. It's like, oh, I'm going to bite that. Have a snack.
Well, there's a woman next door. She moved away now, but she used to have this. It's called a toy dog. Have you heard of a toy dog? Strange. She called it.
Are we on about a literal toy? Because the things with the AI built into them, and they mimic.
No. It's an actual dog, but it looked like a rat. It looked like a shaved rat. It's ugly, bloody thing it was. And it would sit there, and it was shaking like this all the time. You go, oh hello, oh bloody hell! Get your head away in time. It was a vicious bastard, and it would go for all the other dogs. Doesn't matter how big they are. Absolutely vicious little shit. It really was.
Yeah.
But big dogs will lick you to death. They're just full of love. And the most timid ones are Irish Wolfhounds. I worked with a fellow that had one, and he said, if you said sit down like that, if you said it too much, they go and weep in the corner because you've spoken too harshly. yeah, he really upset them. I think
Shame Stream, I like that. I'm going to copyright that.
I think the same ones who control Shame Stream also controlling the alternative. Good point. Yes.
Bang on. Absolutely agree with that.
Yes.
Control both sides of the coin.
Yeah. Because we're not criticising people. We're just observing. That's the thing.
Well, we can't really criticise because we're part of it. We're just as much
Right.
affected by it as anybody else. So it's not a.
Yes.
It is a criticism, and it's not.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But now, ancient Ruby has said it. Inner being, gut instinct is the only thing that tells you truth in any experience. Elite cannot manipulate that. Spot on, ancient Ruby. The media is bombarding us with everything we dislike to torment into. I think that should be us into suicide. Well, have you seen who's won Miss Australia?
Don't tell me it's a bloke.
But it looks like one.
Oh, bloody hell.
No, sorry, not Australia. Germany. Miss Germany.
Have you got a picture?
No, unfortunately, I didn't.
Oh.
I was going to load it up and I forgot. But if you look, if you look on my Telegram channel, which is advertised below here, you'll soon find it. So it's not.
My phone's going to have a dicky fit now because I've not turned Telegram on for a week.
Now, I think, quite honestly, a Quasimodo lookalike bloke dressed in drag has got a very good chance of winning Miss UK competition. I think we should go for it. Quasimodo. That's who it should be.
Well, the world's insane anyway. You might as well. So
I can't sort of. I'm not sure how to post it up here.
Oh my God! Right, okay. I'm severely behind with your Telegram group. I've not logged into it for about 3 weeks.
Don't worry. No, she's got a mole. She's Middle Eastern, or he. We don't know. It's a bloke. Could be a bloke. I don't know. But I mean,
the one from Red Ice. Is this the picture one in the red dress?
No. They've got the beautiful ones. Go up a bit further.
I know. I'm looking at it thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me then because I quite like it. But right, okay.
No, the ones from was it 2015 and 2019 I showed there, and that's it. Germany's lost their way. Then you go up and you see the other one. Can you see it?
Well, the good news is if you're 3, you stand a chance of winning a beauty contest now. Wow.
Well, that's right. I mean,
I don't know whether this will come across, but let's have a.
That's the one.
There we go. It's not focusing, but there we go.
I'm not sure it is the one.
Compared to, because when I looked at her, I'm thinking there's something wrong with me. But I mean, this one is beautiful.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She is.
Yes. Oh, suits you, madam. Oh,
So it's steady now. Not supposed to get excited on air.
Oh no! Hang on. Better get the old water. That's better. I need a rub down with the exchange and mark now. But no, actually, yes. But I think I could win Miss World. I'm going to go for it myself.
It's 2024, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I've got a mate who identifies as a racehorse during the week. It's only Monday to Friday. He's a racehorse. And so his name is Big Centaur. I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Wayne for that one because he says, "Look, I'm a racehorse. Treat me as such."
Well, I actually think I'm a racehorse, and my name is Hoof Hearted.
Hoof Hearted.
Hoof.
I'm not a racehorse.
HOOF, then Hearted. Hoof Hearted.
I'll say no.
No, we got here now about egos. Your ego protects you and gives you, as Cat Holly, an alert danger instincts for survival. Trouble is, new age say no ego, and they have biggest as belief they are God. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, okay. That is interesting. Well, I'll tell you what happened with my ego. Dinner with a racing bike. And I got a racing bike. I thought, hey, nice sunny day. And I got the glass. So you don't put your sunglasses on just like that. You see, you sort of do it the kind of Clint Eastwood way, slowly. Like, hi, ladies, I've got this racing bike. Hi. Yeah. Got on it rather. Stood up, around the corner, lady around the corner, went, hello, hello, and fell arse over tit off of it.
If we never did that. See, this is why we should go back to horses. You know, I mean, it's bikes are very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
So, shall we crack on a little bit?
Crack on, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away here.
You know, don't worry about it. Like, look, there's no way we're going to get. Like, I couldn't get through this in a 2.5-hour presentation in Newcastle. So we're going to have to come back to.
We will.
Oh God, yeah. So, right. So just briefly. So we've covered naivety, which again it speaks for itself. Toxic personality traits. Now, so this will come into a later point in the presentation, but this is where things start to get harmful. So it's when we talk about extremism, we can apply that to extreme left brain or extreme right brain behavior, which comes further in, this what you're seeing on your screen. So I'm going to have to thank Mark Passio for these slides because I've stolen them directly from his website. So if you look at the human brain, so you've got a left and a right. So your left-hand side of your brain corresponds to your right-hand side, your right hand, and your right brain corresponds to left. Your right brain is considered the feminine side of the brain, which is what we associate with intuition, which I think Kat Holly's just mentioned that. Mm-hmm. Somebody mentioned that. Anyway, so intuition, I think, is largely, I think they've disappeared it. I think it's something that they've worked on to minimize in humans, because I do think that they see it as a threat. And unfortunately, a lot of women especially think that they've got intuition, and yet they're still jumping to the wrong conclusions. So I think it's misguided. But I'm not dismissing intuition or what's the other word for it? Instinct. I don't dismiss these as being a real ability, a real psychological trait even. If you can call it so. It's not really psychological, but yeah, it's something that's being driven out of human society, I think, personally. On your left, so your masculine brain, you've got your intellect, your logical, analytical, mechanical thought, right? And so what they generally do, when I say they, I mean the psychopathic social engineers, is they will put you, as a society, they will try and put you into one extreme or the other, because if you're in one extreme or the other, you're easy to control. And so just looking at the slides briefly, I'll pass them in a sec. So it's equated to master think mentality, right? So your master brain is, if you're an atheist, it's because you've got an extreme science point of view. So science is your god, and you consider yourself extremely logical. The only problem is that you tend to close your mind to other possibilities at this point. So solipsism. So what somebody's just mentioned on the chat, ego being based in the self, thinking that they're gods. That's solipsism, right? So that's you considering yourself the center of all creation, that you are. I agree that there is God within, but I think that's been very, very misunderstood. Yeah, no problem. So on your master brain, you've got extreme rigid outlooks. You've got social Darwinism, which is survival of the fittest, moral relativism as opposed to objective truth, and totalitarianism. If you look at the slave mentality or your feminine aspect, if it's in the extreme, you've got extreme religious followers. You feel unworthy, which leads to self-loathing, depression, low states of mind, low states of frequency. More prone to addiction because you want pick-me-ups and you want to cheat your brain into feeling good, essentially. You're more likely to follow orders, and you're a more willing slave. So I hope that doesn't get us kicked off YouTube. So again, these come up later. We can come back to this because we're not going to get to this at the end in this particular presentation because there's too many slides. So we've gone through that. We'll come back to this another time. So you're going to like the graphics for this one. So when we're looking at the 7 deadly mindsets, again, it's all psychological. If we look at certain PSYOPs, which is short for psychological operations, right? So I've deliberately left some out of this. There's a hell of a lot more that we can choose from, but I've chosen a few. And I've tried to go down a different route just to show people that the ways that psyops are implemented. Okay, so one of the things that we look at in truth communities, obviously, the word shill comes up a lot, and people seem to think that a shill is somebody that you disagree with, not that disagrees with you, that you disagree with. Okay, so if we look at, I think I should have a definition of shill. There we go. Right, we'll come back to this. So, definition of shill: an accomplice or hawker, of a hawker, gambler, or swindler who acts as an enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others. A shill, also called a plant or a stooge, is a person who helps or gives credibility to a person or organization without disclosing that they have a close relationship or agenda with said person or organization. So that's somebody claiming to be one of you when they're not. They're quite clearly working for your opposition or somebody else without being honest about it. Okay, so this should come as no surprise to truthers. We know roughly what the definition of a shill is. More appropriately, if we look at a shill as a double agent, it kind of gives us a better impression as to what one is. So a double agent, if we go back to the previous slide, a lot of people jump on the shill bandwagon. I mean, personally, the guy on the slide I think is a shill, but there we go. That's my opinion, which is different to knowing it. Well, although I think it's pretty self-evident. This is the mindset that's involved with accusing people of shills and shilleriness or whatever you want to call it is stubbornness, arrogance, presumption, ignorance, and a left brain imbalance. So again, we're looking at that extreme masculine, authoritarian, mechanical way of looking at things. Essentially, your arrogance has taken over your ego, right? So your ego is in charge at this point. You jump to conclusions. So what I found in my experience, especially with Christians and flat earthers, is that anybody who disagrees with them, they get accused of being a shill. Instead of saying, well, actually, that's just my opinion or belief. So there you go. So shall we skip on a little bit?
Yes, please. Yes, this is fascinating.
Right. Okay. So get the frog out of my throat. The current truth movement is now full to the brim of people throwing accusations of shills here, there, and everywhere without as much as any real justification. Truthers seem to have acquired a very unfortunate bad habit of calling anyone they disagree with as a shill. Okay, so again, I've used the example of an ex-friend of mine who is a Christian. Now, I've put New Age Christian. If I was to say to this guy who was New Age, he'd have a dicky fit. But unfortunately, he does fall into the category of a New Age Christian. I'll come to what that means later on. He's also a flat earther. Right, so during a conversation with this particular individual, he insisted that both Graham Hancock and David Icke were shills because they were not Christians or flat earthers and had appeared on mainstream TV on more than one occasion. Apparently, I'm naive for disagreeing with this person, regardless of any arguments or facts I presented. So this is a typical example of how the powers that ought not to be using psyops to manipulate our mentality into. So when people are going around accusing people of shills, that's going to get people's backs up. And unless it's got any real justification, all it is, it's one ego fighting against another ego. And this particular friend that I've used as an example here, I've fallen out with him because of this. I've seen it as he really is stuck in an imbalanced state of mentality, and he no longer has the ability to reason. He's got his beliefs and he's got his ego, and he's unable to see past them. And so the whole idea that a shill is, getting people to fall into the shill mindset or accusing people of being shills, it's a psyop. It's one that is based very clearly on psychology to turn people against each other. And to, for example, using the example of Graham Hancock and David Icke, if you're accusing them of being a shill, you instantly dismiss anything that they have to say, regardless as to whether there's any truth in it or not. That's an instant disregard. So, they're tapping into our psychology here. Incidentally, I just want to point out that often when you point out that actually people are not shills just because they have a different opinion than you, they quickly change the narrative to, okay, well, he might not be a shill, but he's definitely a gatekeeper, which I find a little bit, we're on about an immature mindset. We're on about child mentality. This is exactly what we're looking at, right? This is the ego in charge.
Correct.
So we'll move on from that one. So the 7 psyops that I've implemented here, and we can definitely get this in before the time's up on the show, But I'd be very curious to hear, obviously, your opinion and the opinion of your audience as we're going along. So if we can get a little bit of feedback, even if they disagree, that'd be fantastic.
Well, I've actually found out more from people that I've disagreed with in my life. I found, because if you can, I try. I mean, it's like the flat Earth, round Earth. I'm still open-minded. If someone's, because you can produce evidence either way, so I will remain neutral.
Fantastic arguments either way, really is. But we still don't know, do we?
I mean, what I've said about about Trump. Well, if someone can give me evidence, then but I don't believe in worshipping someone because I don't believe in government. But that's another story. But so, what you were saying earlier about left and right brain. If you're left-handed, I'm left-handed. Yeah. Apparently, it's the other way around. Your brain is the opposite way around because you're left-handed.
Yeah, you've got if you make a diagonal like that, right? So it crosses over. So your left corresponds to your right, and your right corresponds to your left.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm left-handed, so it'll be the other way round. And the strange thing about left-handedness is we don't get seasick. It's a weird thing. They don't know why. Yeah, I've actually been on a cross on a cross-channel ferry, and the thing was almost tipping over. It was a full one of the top gals. Nobody's throwing up. I wasn't because I suppose because I'm left-handed. It's something to do with the balance or something in your brain. It's weird,
Well, yeah, but if you consider right, so you break your brain hemisphere. So I'm not saying that your left hemisphere is any worse than your right or the other way around, is it? Right. So they both serve a purpose and they've both got different functions, right? So the idea is not to fall into the extreme; it's to balance them. And some people are going to be predisposed to one or the other, which is fine. That's kind of human. In fact, I would say that's animal nature, is to you operate with two brains on the left and right, and then you've got your inner brain, which is your mammalian and your reptilian brains. So you're looking at survival mode and emotional mode behind this. But when I did the presentation in Newcastle, this going back to this particular mechanic here, a lot of people said, well, they made the connection between left-handed being artistic, and being more holistic in their approaches, their outlook, but not, I mean, it's just because you're left-handed, if you're left-handed and right-brained, doesn't make you any less intelligent. It just makes you more predisposed to that behavior, to that. I'm struggling for words here.
Well, you're more hypersensitive to that because majority of left-handed people were had a traumatic birth.
Interesting. I didn't know.
I have met people that didn't have a traumatic birth, but it's a sort of a general thing. And it's only 10% of the population wherever you go in the world, except for in India, where they force children to write with their right hand. But they found out it causes psychological problems. But no, with left-handedness, it's very strange because they reckon that certain professions have more left-handed. I mean, in architecture, I worked in an office where there's only two blokes that are right-handed. We're all left-handed. More architects are left-handed than architecture. Yeah, it's very strange.
So what you're saying there, though, that's interesting because architects, I mean, they're analytical, they're mechanical, but to say that they're left-handed would suggest to me that that's their artistic side, isn't it? So it's like it's almost like they can vision what they're drawing, and then putting it. So
because. But they reckon the left-handedness can also be an advanced form of dyslexia.
That came up as well, funnily enough. So I'm wondering if that's more to do with the fact that. Sorry, Chris. I think that's more to do with societal programming. The fact that we don't generally accept left-handedness as being. We don't adapt to it. We try and force people to a single way of operating, which is generally the right-handed mechanical left-handed brain kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I mean, for example, during World War II, in Germany, they made left-handed rifles for left-handed people. Britain
didn't. Right. Please tell me you're joking, right? I mean, surely it's the same.
I'm not joking. My dad told us he said they had rifles that were for left-handed people. I don't know the workings of a rifle. That's what he told me. Yeah, he said they're quite surprised they had it for left-handed because there's certain things, for example, when you go into a bank, when you used to have to write checks, it was always on the right hand side. It's always on the side because they assume that you're right-handed. When you're left-handed, you have to sort of. It's difficult. I've got Lloyd's Bank, the only bank that offers left-handed checkbooks. So I've actually got a left-handed checkbook, which is the other way around. So yeah, it's back to front.
That's an interesting one. That I wonder if there's any correlation to language, because obviously we write left to right, don't we?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if a society or culture that is predominantly right-brained, if this is where we get the right to left, the script. For example, let's say the Hebrew tradition. I'm wondering if that's more to do with a society that's more predominantly right-brained. Left-brained. I'll get it right. Right-handed, left-brained. Because I'm wondering if there's any correlation between that.
Might be, but I know that if you was in the Roman army, you got double the pay because you stabbed with your left hand, not the right hand. So you were more effective because the enemy thought you're going to come at them with the right hand. You weren't. You were with the left hand. So you got double the pay. So that was handy, wasn't it? Yeah.
Interesting. I'll look into that, because I always thought it was scoot them on the left hand and then shift to the side and stab and then bring the shield back around.
Well,
I might be wrong.
Well, the other thing is that if people could look in chat to know anything about rifles, because my dad told me, now I want to check out the truth of this, but because he said they had left-handed rifles, so I haven't looked.
It's unusual. That, I mean, is the sight slightly different or what? I mean,
I don't know. It's weird. But strangely enough, I'm ambidextrous if it comes to anything else, to writing. But everything else, I'm ambidextrous. I could use either hand.
I'm wondering if it's So you mentioned about people with dyslexia. I wonder if that's because the brain's being tricked. It's kind of tripping up on itself. So maybe because they're writing, even though it's left-handed, they're writing as if it's sort of almost as if the brain's looking at things backwards. And so maybe that's what's tripping them.
Maybe. Does.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're in an architect's office, I mean, it's the nearest thing to a lunatic asylum we could ever wish to work in. Seriously. Absolutely not crazy. You have drama queens and going bloody mad all the time. It is like a lunatic asylum. You have to get used to it, if you went from an architect's place to a lunatic asylum, you wouldn't notice much difference, really. You think it's more sane.
What is sanity? I mean, the conclusion of this is we're all mentally ill at some level,
But see, the thing is that the strange thing about, I mean, I had a traumatic birth apparently, and there was someone I knew that was left-handed. She had the cord around her neck, and the doctors had problems getting it out, and that was when she's 43. No, the umbilical cord strapped around the neck. Yeah, and there's lots. Yeah, it's a very strange thing, but with dyslexia, it's. I mean, I don't think I'm dyslexic. I mean, I'm right, So it's a bit like the dyslexic pimp that bought a warehouse. Sorry.
No, carry on. I want to hear this one.
Anyway, shall we have a little bit of chat and then we come back?
Yeah, please. Yeah, just to see what people think so far.
We got raw vision. Raw vision. So true that my niece has been influenced by TV, radio, and the school system, and has been made. And has made her confused because she doesn't know if she wants to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. Now she's only 26. My word, that is a bit confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, that's definitely psychological operations used in school. I mean, they are twisting kids' minds chronic now, and it's disturbing. Really, really is. I mean, that's really worrying for me.
Well, with the way it's going, soon I think you'll have the First Lady of America will be a horse. Seriously.
A horse or a racehorse? Because I know a guy who might be interested.
She's a bit of a mare anyway, whatever happens. Kat Harley says, I used to watch UK column, but I realised it was to lower your energy, and half what they said seemed made up. Freemasons. So I need a bit of masonry done. So You know,
actually,
should I go down to Masonic Hall and ask whether I have some done free? You know, sorry.
well, they said they're there to help people. I mean, so you could ask them a few questions.
Yeah. What do they have in their apron? Do they do the washing up or something? I mean, is that part of their ritual? It's a ritual washing up session.
Maybe it's like a ritual bath that they have for their, they get in this. No, I don't know where that's going. I'm gonna cap it there. Incidentally, though, can we bring that last comment back up? I don't know if can you do that?
Let's have a quick look at it. What is it? Here it is. Used to watch you on them, yeah.
So this reminds me of the whole half truth principle, right? So if you give somebody a half truth, they're easier to fool and manipulate. And the example I use is that if you tell people a lie, 100% lie, they're going to figure it out. You're going to lose your power. You're going to lose your control. It's no use. If you tell people the truth, you're limited with what you can achieve from that. So if you want to leave, misdirect or get people into a false belief system or whatever, again, this is tapping into left and right extremes. And so what I'm saying there, that just makes me think, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing with mainstream, is that they give you a half truth, because then it gives them some kind of plausibility. But then they use the same tactic in the truth movement, especially the new age spiritual gurus that we find. I won't mention any names because I don't want to make any enemies, but they will give you a half truth, and then they'll mix it in with this blend of what I refer to as toxic positivity and then unfounded beliefs. So, the Galactic Federation of the Pleiadians are going to come and save everybody, and then you just have to wait a little longer and be happy and look. It's all. I'm sorry, bollocks. I don't buy into it at all. But that's using a half truth. So and as we'll go along here, that QAnon, they give you information that's true, but then unfortunately but that didn't belong to them. That didn't come from the whole QAnon bollocks. That came from information that was already readily available, and so they utilize that, and then they feed their narrative into it, which then distorts it. And then so what you find then is it's easy for the mainstream to take you and demonize you and say, oh, look at these crazy horses here, look at what they're coming up with, and they'll then demonize the truth as well as the, forgive the language here, utter horse shit that's being fed with it. And so anyway, sorry, moving on.
And also,
I don't go for the whole queue.
Well, as I said earlier, if you go against anybody like little Tommy Tucker from Luton, they get really upset with you. Because I said, well, no, he works for another country, which we're not allowed to criticise. Oh, he's telling us what we need to know, though. Oh, he doesn't. Bullshit. I'm sorry. No.
Well, look at the history. I know you're referring to, and I think your audience will as well. But look at his history. Look at his affiliations. Look at his ideologies. And you're telling me he's a good guy? Nah, not a chance. Not a chance. There you go. But again, no names mentioned. Let's keep us PG.
And I think this is quite interesting. Sorry to say, I do think most of the protests are staged, as Cat Holly. Yes. Come along, walk where the police tell you which line you can walk down. Notice how they are synchronized across Europe. Yes. It's a very good point. Very good.
I can't disagree with that. I do think it's a controlled opposition. So we are dealing with actual gatekeepers here. But again, we can't mention names because then there's people that do lead the protests that are genuine. But then there's people that are definitely agents that have been placed in specific points to direct and as you was it Cat Holly there that's just said that? Anyway, yes, I agree. I do think that the protests are largely controlled. Let's go for that. Controlled.
Well, Robert's come in and said, Chris, we're approaching another truly defining moment in our development as a race. If humanity is to survive, we need to realize that it is we truly hold the power. Spot on. Just look in the mirror. That's who's going to lead you.
But what he's saying there is true. But until people regain their senses and start to think rationally and clearly and learn to discern, truth from fiction, we can't progress to this. Right? So yes, the power is within. It always has been. It always will be. But unless your mind is aligned correctly, and your heart is ready to take action, and you're in control of your emotions instead of being ruled by them, we ain't going anywhere. we're not going to achieve a damn thing. People often say, "Oh, what's the solution?" The solution is stop your insanity, come to your senses, and then you're harder to control. You're harder to be fooled. You can't fall into line, and there you go. Done. Job done. Come back to your senses, people. That's the solution.
And also, if you don't normally, you don't really like. I mean, I don't like clubs and groups if I go to be near them normally. But I broke that because I was feeling so isolated during what's happened over the last, what's now 4 years. And I think a lot of people have done that, but I'm always uncomfortable in groups and numbers of people.
Absolutely.
But it helps you to sort of kind of observe, and it really is frightening how your brain naturally links in with a hive mind. It's surprising. It really is. And
well, there's a word for this, isn't there? Entrainment. Is that the right word? Entrainment, where you maybe
yes.
that's the wrong word. You kind of being brought into a kind of flow with everybody else. It's like a sync, hive sync or something. You know, it's yeah.
But you'll always get the conductor. It's like an orchestra. You get the conductor, and the conductor conducts the orchestra, and nobody dare power a bum note because they will stick out like a sore thumb. So everybody's yes or no, so 3 days also. And that's the way it always goes. And you look at most things in a school playground. You'll have the bully, who's the orchestra conductor, and the rest will play in with that bully because they're frightened of stepping out.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
kick their friend up the backside just to show that they are with the main group.
Yes, yeah, but this is a narcissistic trait, is it not? So you've got the narcissist and you've got the codependents, and then the codependents are the victim, but then you've got your flying monkeys on the perimeters, right? So that you've got your mob on the perimeter keeping the codependents in line. So your bully is your ringleader essentially. So yeah, and we see this everywhere. And
that's right. And the bullies are normally the thickest of the thick, and very intelligent people worship them. Yeah. This is the weirdest thing. I mean, they really worship these people. I mean, Trump is a perfect example. You know, I've heard highly intelligent people worship him as if he's some sort of religious thing. Here it is. You know, there it is. It's spot on. I mean, I've never met him. He might be a very nice person. I don't know. I've never met him. I mean, he might be.
He's very charismatic. Let's give him that. He's charismatic. He's funny, and he's definitely not got Alzheimer's like his opposition. But
no,
do we trust him? No.
But they're paid to be nice people, aren't they? I mean, that's the thing. If Tony Blair walked in this, I'd say, "Hi, hello, everybody. I'm paid to be a nice person." Yeah, that's bullshit. That's just the icing on the top. That's the icing on the cake.
It's to draw you in, isn't it? It's kind of like a false sense of security. It's a false trust that they go in and make you feel comfortable. They bring your anxiety down, which then makes you resonate with them a bit. So even if you know this guy's a cult leader or a demon or whatever it is, if he's being nice to start with, he's going to draw people in, lead them into a false sense of security, and then they can get into there. They can control your mind through that. Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, there was a show years ago. I think it was a politics show or something, and I saw one show, and it was so immature. It was frightening. When I say frightening, it made me feel uncomfortable. The immaturity of it, it's childishness. When they'll come around election time, the politicians with their rosettes on, I don't know. I feel intimidated by it. I don't know whether you feel like this. It's sort of, I don't want to speak to somebody who's acting like a clown. Basically, it's like a clown knocking on your door.
No, but it's the air of arrogance. I mean, look, I've had just before the madness kicked off in 2020, we had canvassers knock at the door and Jehovah's Witnesses on the same day knocking at the door. Now, you're gonna like this, right? So the Jehovah's Witnesses, when they knocked on the door, said, "Come in, let's have a chat. I'll make you a nice cup of tea." Right? In they came, nice chat, civil. I loved it, really, really do. In fact, I've got friends who are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah,
I don't agree with them, and there's problems there. However, when the canvassers knocked at the door, I said, "Look," I said, "the Jehovah's Witnesses have been round," and I said, "and they're quite welcome." I said, "But you lot can sod off." "Oh, well, don't you want to know about climate change?" I said, "And that's the reason you can sod off." I said, you're spouting crap like that. I said, "No, get lost." well, don't you have any concern for the future of the planet? I said, yeah. I said, what you're doing is counterproductive. I said, you're actually going to cause problems. I said, no, go away. And then you can see them congregating at the end of the street, looking up. Oh, we've got a bloody strange conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I know your narrative's full of shit. I'd rather talk to a Jehovah's Witness. There you go.
Well, I like talking to Jehovah's Witnesses. I try and convert them over. Try to convert them back, you know.
Yeah, good luck with that. But it's the air that they come to your door with, the canvassers. Even if it's to ask you where your voting forms are, you know, why haven't you registered yet? Piss off. But they come with this absolute authoritarian, as if they're your superior. Well, you haven't done it. Yeah, what's it got to do with you? You're just some skivvy that you're not even one of them. You're just being used. Piss off. Sorry for the language. I hope
that's okay. Most of the councils, I mean, one of them is as thick as two short planks thicker than that, I think, and can't even put two words together to make a sentence. But thinks they're on such an ego, it's unbelievable. And they love to have a title and things like that. That's why was it a bullshit title fluid, you see? So if they knock on the door, you know, I say, oh, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Oh, well, how are you, Doctor? No, I'm a professor, actually, because I'm title bullshit fluid, you see? None of it. But no, the fact of the matter is, I think that, was it Adrian Wall, one of those people? He had to be a reporter in the House of Commons once, and he said he believed that politicians, I think it was him, but correct me if I'm wrong, but he believed that all politicians had some psychological problem. There's something psychologically wrong with them. They wanted to do such a job. And I think there's something not quite right. I really do. That I think it's true what that comedian said. It's show business for ugly people.
I mean, they are actors, really. If you think about it, they're playing a part. So I mean, it's not a politician, so I don't know if they're ugly or not, but they probably are.
Well, look at the Green Party. I'm sorry if there's anybody who's Green Party, but they're the ugliest people. They look as if they're wearing the clothes that Oxfam rejected. You know.
Hey, look, let's be serious about the Green Party looking like that. It's only so that they can qualify for World Beauty contests and Miss World. That's the only reason. I mean, we have to provide them with the respect that they're going for.
That's right. Lucas, I think the council does her hair for her. It's just sort of, I feel like saying to her, when are you going to be released from prison? You know, I mean.
But you've got to, I mean, look at the Green Party, right? So they're supposed to be for the planet.
Yeah.
And we know that they're pushing certain agendas here. But so one of the things that they're advocating now is, yes, let's chop as many trees down as possible. Well, what? Come again? Yeah, let's save the planet by destroying it. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, good luck with your campaign. I don't think people are that thick, are they, really? Are they? Are they?
Well, I want to know, you see, if you want to join the library where I live, you've got these umpteen different genders. You've got to say what one you are. And then you've got to say whether you're, what is it now? Oh, I can't remember. And I want to know who is responsible. We're paying some bozo to make all that crap up. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's only male and there's female. And there's a very, 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 very small minority who are genuine, who I feel very sorry for, who were born in the wrong body. And I do have sympathy that is a medical condition, a genuine medical condition that I think we should feel sorry for. But they are a very small minority of people. It's not that many. It's sort of, I think it's point something of a percent, 1%, 0.007 or something of a 1%.
Whoa.
You know,
I looked into this recently. So obviously, with all the woke stuff that we're being bombarded with, and of course, I'm of the same mindset that you're, coming from here, is that genetics, if you want to call it genetics, look, okay, let's call it biology. Biology doesn't get it wrong. What I'm going to say here is that now in today's day and age, yes, we do have people who are, for want of a better word, born in their own body. But let's look at that. Is that a natural biological response? Because I don't think nature makes mistakes. I think humans do.
Yeah, you're talking about hermaphrodite.
Say
Hermaphrodite
again, mate.
is a hermaphrodite who's half and half, male and female.
Yeah, yeah. But again, that's a very, very rare condition.
Very
We know, and that occurs in nature as well. I mean, to the point where actually some species can change their sex.
Seahorses. Horses, the male gives birth.
Doesn't it apply to toads and frogs as well?
I think slugs do. I think slugs and snails.
Right.
Yeah.
But that being said, again, I've looked into this, and it does seem that actually now, due to chemical induction, things introduced into the mother's arms,
Yes.
and other bits, that it is now genuinely affecting the sexual organs in embryos, and the development of they are coming out in the wrong body. But then that's down to chemicals and certain arm spears, and I think we know where that's coming from. But it's not natural. Apart from hermaphrodites, yeah, that's it's an anomaly. But again, it's a natural anomaly. It does occur naturally. So I mean, this is a whole different ball game, isn't it? I mean, it's to anybody that remembers the olden days, 20 years ago. It's a bit of irony there, but this would have been considered insane. What we're dealing with now, it's insane. And yet we have to go along with it, because if we don't, then we're classed as haters. And I don't hate these people just because they've got a different outlook. I just think some of them are very confused, and some of them have been medicated against their consent.
I know that years ago, that's the midwife would, if a baby was totally deformed, the baby would be done away with. And that was up to about the 1950s. I think that happened, and that's why
a lot of old cultures did that. I think the Romans and the Spartans adopted that. Yeah.
Your tribal culture. Sorry, I talked over you there. It's very rude of me. Sorry, you're saying.
No, I'm the one talking over, so I apologise. But it's
No, sorry, you said so. I didn't quite hear. I'm sorry.
Oh, about the we're about children being discarded if they were disabled or physically disabled. A lot of cultures did it. I mean, the two that stand out is the Roman culture and the Spartan culture, but there was more. There was a lot more than that. That if a baby came out deformed, it was considered an act of mercy to not bring them up. But then you've got Indian cultures which consider it it's a gift. So,
Well, no, they actually killed the baby before anything. The baby wouldn't know much about it. And I know that in tribal cultures, in the Amazon, places like that, they do that because it's survival of the tribe. They can't have a disabled. I mean, if somebody becomes disabled in the tribe, they'll look after that person when they're adult. But if a baby is born severely deformed, the baby will be done away with because they can't treat it, and it's a sort of an act of mercy type of thing.
Yeah,
it's a bit
exactly.
like if you run over a bird accidentally or a car, it's sometimes have to be cruel to be kind and wring its neck quickly, put it out of its misery. I couldn't do it, although if I was forced to, I probably would do it. But and
depends on the situation, doesn't it? I mean, do you want to watch some animals struggle or suffer? You wouldn't want to do that. And I'm with you. It's difficult to do that, but
because of the culture we've been brought up with. But if you're in farming, you would do it without any thought. And it's because I've been brought up in home counties. You've probably been brought up in a sort of not a home counties type sort of environment. So we're not brought up to do that every day. So we don't do it, But people that's been brought up on farms, well, yeah, they would do it. It's not cruel. It's sometimes being cruel to be kind in many ways, But I think that a lot more babies now, well, prior to the Industrial Revolution, the amount of deaths at childbirth was incredible. And it was thanks to hygiene where the child mortality rate dropped phenomenally because, and also children survive birth where they wouldn't normally survive birth. So that's the thing,
Well, so we could look at medical intervention for that. See, it's not all bad. Again, let's get out of this myopic way of thinking.
Yeah.
Some things that they provide, some of the chemicals or the medicines or whatever you call it, some of them are genuinely good. They're useful. They can be used for good purposes as well as bad. But it's the Industrial Revolution. That whole period is very interesting in terms of social engineering. I mean, it literally picked society up and reformed it.
Yes.
So I wonder if that's kind of akin to what they're doing now. They're causing chaos everywhere to reform society into a new way of thinking, into a technocratic structure. Well, we're going way off there, though.
Well, I think we are a little bit like the Roman Empire, and where you had the Byzantine Empire that was formed after it. And I think that what's happening is you will find a part of Europe where people who have got a little bit upstairs will flock to. And it will be not necessarily Europeans, but it would be thinking people. It might be second, third, or first generation immigrants who like our culture and like the European culture and want to preserve it. And so they will go there as well. And this is what happened in the Byzantine Empire. They just, and they went on for, was it 1,000 years or something? It was very successful.
It was 750 years after the collapse, wasn't it? I think because was it 1453 the Byzantine fell? Because it was to the Turks.
It was to
the Ottomans. Was it
Ottomans? That's it. It was the Ottomans.
Turks?
No, I think it was the Ottomans.
Yeah,
14 something. Yeah, went for a long time. Yeah, so I think this is where we're going to
go. Yeah, sorry, mate.
No, I really think this is the way we're going to go. I think it's going to be like the Roman Empire, and people just go off into their little groups, and just say, no, I'm not standing this, I'm not standing that, because I mean, the Roman Empire, anything went. They debauchery, anything. It just was open, rampant. It was just, and all societies, when they go that way, fold in on themselves. And that's exactly what we're happening here, But again,
but the question you've got to ask is it a constructed or designed collapse? Is it entirely controlled? Is it deliberate, in other words?
Well, I think the psychopaths that control us are very clever, but they seem to, what I've found when I've come against these sort of psychotypes, is that they can't see the next stage ahead. They are very intelligent but very stupid at the same time.
So lacking in holistic intelligence. I don't know about not being able to see ahead. I think they're very good at planning ahead. I think what brings the psychopaths down is hubris. They can map ahead, but when they make a mistake, and they will inevitably make a mistake, it throws them. I'm not saying they don't have contingencies. That would be ridiculous. Of course they do.
But they don't understand the human psyche, and that is actually a chink in their armor, I think. Like humour and things like that. They don't understand that. I mean, psychopaths
don't have the ability, do they?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, because remember, they lack the frontal lobe. It's blank spaces in the frontal lobe where we have, and that is where the frontal lobe is where empathy comes from and caring. And if you've got a well-developed frontal lobe, then you'll be more empathic and caring. Whereas when they look at a psychopath under a scan, they've got hardly anything there, because that's why they've got no empathy. They can look at any form of cruelty and it just doesn't do anything to them, and they can be as cruel as they want, but not all, because some don't harm humans. There is just a breed of them that does. So it's wrong to be, say all psychopaths are evil. No, some of them will sometimes do kind things for humans. So they're all different ones amongst psychopaths. So you can't brand them all as the same. That's the thing.
I actually agree with that. I mean, to call I'm using the term psychopathic social engineers because they tend to be psychopathic. But yeah, I understand what you're saying is that just because they're psychopathic doesn't mean they're bad or evil by default. It just means that they don't possess the same emotional presets that the rest of the population has, right? So yeah, I agree with you absolutely. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little bit unfair to say that all psychopaths are bad. They're not. They're not. They operate in different wavelengths. Yeah, I guess so. But it seems to me that politically, psychopaths tend to be the ones drawn to power, and so that's why we seem to have an abundance of psychopaths in the political sphere. And in positions like solicitors, surgeons, things like that. Apparently they have a predominant of psychopathy. But then they're also gifted intellectually. A lot of them. Again, studies reveal that not all psychopaths are intellectual geniuses, but there is a high tendency. I couldn't think of the word there. That actually a lot of psychopaths are extremely intelligent. So maybe it's the frontal lobe holding most people back from intellectual development, but it's the ability to have empathy and to feel that keeps us in check. I mean, maybe there's a balance to be looked at there. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yes, it is. But, yeah, I mean, the thing with it, I mean, Dr. Hare is the leading authority on psychopaths, and he's getting on a little bit now, but his lectures and his books are absolutely incredible, absolutely fascinating, because I'm positive, I've worked with them. It's very difficult to say whether someone's a sociopath or psychopath or whatever, because you don't know their background. I do believe an in-law of mine is a psychopath. I've said this many times before, because they seem to get a lot of pleasure out of causing misery. That is the pleasure that they get. When there's chaos around them, they feel in control. And this is why politics is full of chaos. They feel in control. Well, look, there's chaos around us. War is fact. They love. It's a playground to them. They love war. You know, that's the thing.
I like the way you've looked at that. I mean, it is essentially they're playing games, aren't they? Because they see themselves as being capable of kind of superiority. Their ego is definitely in charge. I mean, I used to work until very recently, for someone who's definitely got all the psychopathic traits, and there's not an ounce of shit given in terms of care for others. But she's very good at following rules and stricture.
Yes. They're very much into putting you into categories as well.
Yeah,
that's what they do. They pigeonhole you. You're this, you're that. That's why when you come up against these thickos that say, "Oh, you're a this, you're a that, you're a this, you're that," no, I'm a human being. I'm not going to be categorized. And I think it's true what I think this chap said, and the prisoner, and I think he got it spot on. And here it is.
Make any deals with you. I've resigned. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
I like that. What's that from?
That's from The Prisoner, the original. Patrick
it reminds me a little bit of The Network as well. That I mean, obviously, yeah, I like that.
It's the original one made in the 1960s. All right, it's crummy special effects, but it's brilliant. And it was actually written by Patrick McGowan, the bloke who acted the part. And he's dead now, but and he knew what was going on. He had an idea what was going on. And
that looks very good, actually. That looks right down my street. That.
Yeah. I don't know, do you know about The Prisoner, the television one? It's about a chap that falls out with the establishment. And suddenly he wakes up one morning and he's been put on this really strange island.
Right.
And all the people are all like hive minds. Hello, and nobody's got a name. They've all got a number. He's number 6.
Wow.
And it was actually filmed in Portmeirion in Wales. It's supposed to be an island. They made a remake, I think, in the 90s. It was rubbish. It's crap, not even worth switching it on to. But the original one,
they tend to sacrifice quality for special effects, I've noticed, in remakes, unfortunately. So it loses its original meaning, you know.
What am I here for? For information. What information? What? I'm a name. I've got a name, not a number. Calm down, number 6. And it's always been all being really nice. Hello, how are you this one? And they're all sort of like fickle and pleasant and sort of super. And it was
subdued almost.
Yeah.
Calm. What's it? Docile.
In
a way.
Yeah. And it was made in the 60s. They repeated it a couple of times on television, but Patrick McGowan, genius actor. He's a brilliant actor and writer as well. And the only reason he got away with it is because Lou Grade, who ran Rank Organisation, didn't understand what the bloody hell it was about, and that's how he got away with it. Put it on there.
So you said there the Rand Organisation.
I think it was a Rank Organisation.
Oh, rank, right, okay. I was going to say rank, yeah, rank. So you're right, I'm with you.
Yeah. And no, but that I think there's a few programs on YouTube. I think there is, but they're few and far between. They're very, very dated now, very aged. But you'll see a bit behind it. I mean, what gets me is he thinks he gets away. They let him get away, and then he tries to convince the authorities where this place is. And the next thing, he's inside an aeroplane, and he says, "Look, there it is." And the bloke presses a button and jettisons him straight out the plane. He's back again because he doesn't realise the establishment sent him there to find out this information. Oh, it's very clever. It really is, and it's years ahead of its time because everywhere he goes, there's cameras looking at him. Remember, this is
60s, exactly. Wow.
And
so I'm thinking here. So I'm going to see John tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to stop with John for a couple of days. Last time I was there, I watched Capricorn 1, which was I think you're familiar with.
Yes.
We sat and watched that together, and I thought, wow, that's an eye opener as well. So I think our little film spree tomorrow night or the night after will be The Prisoner. I think you've given me some homework, and I think John will be more than happy to oblige with that. So.
John will know it. Is of the age to know The Prisoner, but the original. Don't watch the remake; it's crap. It's the original 1961, filmed in Wales, and you can actually go to Port Marion today, and they show you where all the camera angles and that. It was years ahead of its time, absolutely years. And there's a scene where they set out this. There's all these people all walking around this sort of like park, and suddenly they sent out this signal, and they all go, and they all stand still like this. And then so they stop the signal and they all carry on moving.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Just to interject there, right? So that reminds me of Cell, with John Cusack.
Oh yes.
My God, I tell you what, anybody who's looking for a frightening real world possibility, look at Cell with John Cusack, because what that goes into, basically certain towers in line with their little Black Mirror devices. And they're sending frequencies from the towers to the phones, which then, if they look at it, it sends a frequency to the brain. It puts them all in and it draws people in the course of the movie. It makes them act like zombies. They're like violent zombies, if I'm getting my films right. But anyway, after that, it kind of shuts them down, and they all tend to gravitate towards the towers. And at the end of the film, it's worth watching, right? So even I'm going to tell you the end of the film, but it's still worth watching because there's bits that I'm definitely missing out, right? Let's say the towers have a very, very disturbing outcome in terms of hive mind. Watch it. Seriously, I mean, we can have a chat about that just on its own, but yeah, it's very relevant.
I think that these things. I think Patrick McGowan, who did Back to the Prisoner, I think something happened where he could see the future. So accurate, very, very accurate.
Or was he just good at reading things? I mean,
well, they thought it was about the tax system, because in the tax system you're a number, you're not a name, you're a number.
Yeah.
And that's where he got it from. He had tax forms coming in. He saw this number and he said, "Look," and they were computerizing the tax system in the 60s. So he's saying, "I have a name, not a number." But all I say how and you'll find this now with this public service. People going, you say, "I'm bloody fed up with this service." So sorry to hear that, sir. There's all that sort of smarming it over. I'm going to bloody bring someone in the neck if they don't do so. No need to raise your voice. So I'm sure everything's under control. So it's just like it is now. It's brilliant.
Carry on, because it reminds me of the nurse, like a psychiatric nurse, and they've got this way of talking to you to keep you calm. It's almost like a robotic signal that's your medication is on the table. Please calm down, otherwise we're going to have to make you take the medication. Okay, you're going to feel sleepy in a moment. It's okay, just take a seat. You can always take your medication now. It's that kind of. Let's treat them like they're under some kind of The mentally ill children. Let's just keep
Yeah.
them calm. Keep little. And
That's it.
patronise the shit out of them as we're doing it. You know what I mean. I'm tired. It's getting late, bugger that. But yeah.
Anyway, we come up to a second hour, and
Yeah.
we come up to our time now.
Well, I did say there's a lot. There's no way that we're going to get through it in one go. So that, I mean, just to give people a heads up. I mean, this goes on and on. You know, this one's a special one of mine, but we'll come back to that at some point in the next podcast, whenever that might be. But just before we go,
yeah,
could we just have one last look at the comment section, just out of curiosity? I love reading the comments. I think it's great that you do this.
Right. Now, I think what Kat Henry said is morally bankrupt and without conscience.
Psychopaths.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. Some of them have very long foreheads, like that one who parted this planet today. Departed.
Yeah, the conical shape that goes back like the hum.
That's it. Sort of, it is weird, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
The prisoner, this is Hachi, was better than Teletubbies. God help us.
Everything's better than Teletubbies. Let's be honest.
Oh bloody hell! What was it? They're supposed to be that handbags, didn't they? It's non-binary.
Yeah, not that I'd know that. I'd never watch it, of course.
What on earth is this? Actually, I'm not going to read it out. Actually.
Yeah, well, I'm swiftly on, right? Yeah.
Now, there's another one. Mediaphilia.
Ooh.
That's a good word, isn't it? Sean Hamer, mediaphilia.
He's right. Oh,
yes.
People do have they love their media. They're in servitude to it. So yeah, absolutely.
The media. Chris the Gardener says Green Party are a shocking lot, possibly the most stupid of them all. It's all panto. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe you notice that, Chris. You know, they dress like, well, the charity shops dump the show of clothing that they can't sell, and then the tramps go around and go through it, and then what's left, the Green Party has, I think. That's it.
What?
I'm holding up to the Huey Green, so am I, Dad, and he's clapometer. What a mess. Opportunity knocks you with a crapometer. You probably don't remember that. Now,
should we be concerned? I'm beginning to wonder. What's the message there?
Okay. Spoke like this. Hello, friends, and let's give her a good hand of round of applause. And Huey Green had these talentless acts on. And I must tell you this before we go. They had outside broadcasts, you see, and they had these, it's crap. They had a little girl tap dancing, and the bloke could play the tunes, play a tune with a ruler in his mouth, and all that sort of crappy acts. And at the end, they'd have a clapometer, and the more the clapometer went up, the more the more people liked it. Apparently, it was some bloke with his lever with an elastic band on the end with his finger. It's all. And Freddie Starr actually gave the game away and said that's what they did. It was not electronic at all. It's just a bloke with a rubber band around his finger with a needle just going backwards and forwards like this. And but one week they went to an army camp, you see, where new acts are going on, you see, and these blokes had just come back from some posting far away, and of course they had the first act, and it was some woman playing a piano, and then some bloke trying to sing, and then they had a belly dancer like this, and you could always hear fly buttons popping. It's only like whoa. Of course, at the end of the show,
what a way to go out, Chris.
But at the end of the show, they had, and here we have Mrs. What's name and a yodeling dog. It is some bloke in the back, and then we have Yes, the fella who can stand upside down playing the banjo. And there we have whoever it was, the belly dancer. Well, and Huey Green said, just goes to show that our fighting boys and girls, no, our fighting men in this country like culture. No, I think I like tits actually.
Yeah, I can see the appeal of certain cultures. Yeah.
They certainly like culture. Fancy having a belly dancer on in an army cap. Who the heck's gonna win it? Shit.
No, you're gonna. It's for motivational purposes, really. I mean, it's to keep spirits high.
Bit of titillation, I think.
Hmm.
Anyway, we've come to the end of the show, and next week there's a new guest coming on, and he is a Suffolk farmer, and it was due to be Chris the gardener and Ben coming on, but this farmer said he wanted to come on tonight, and I said, I'm sorry, no, this can't do this, it's all booked, it's all worked. He said, okay, can I come on as soon as possible, because something is about to happen. So what is it? Well, I'll tell you on the show. So Chris, fingers crossed, next week we've got a Suffolk farmer on who knows what's going on. He's going to be telling us that something's going to happen, but I'm as much in the dark as you are, so whatever it is. So it's next week.
It's a case of to be continued, isn't it? It's like the cliffhanger for next week's episode.
Yeah, it's be continued. 8 o'clock, same time. And then the week after, it's Chris the Garda and Ben coming on. And the week after that, it's John Hamer. And the week after that, it's Nathan, but he doesn't know it yet. So don't tell him.
Oh, well, we've got to continue this. That's absolutely fine. So,
but you could swap with John if you want, John Hamer. So it could be.
No, there's no immediate rush on it. I mean, it's just let's keep it mixed up. You know, it gives us something to look forward to.
That's right.
So, no, get John on. Let's see what he's got to say. So,
well, thanks for coming on, Nathan. And and I'll get your second name, Lucius, isn't it?
Lucius.
Lucius. I get it right.
A lot of people have a problem with this, so that's why I put Lucas at the end. So if you can't pronounce that, just go for Lucas. This is going to trigger the shit out of people. One guy actually, he was having difficulty shouting my name. I said, we've got to talk from Nathan. Yeah, Lucifer. We'll just call him Lucifer. And of course, I turned around and I went, yeah, that'll do. Just call me Lucifer. It's easy. So there you go. Job done.
No, it's a big problem. I think it's because I'm thick.
No, I don't think it's. No, not at all. No, I just like to confuse people.
Anyway, that's true. Don't worry. Thank you very much for coming on, Nathan. It's much appreciated. And you'll be on again. We'll continue this on. And please go, everybody, over to my BitChute channel and see the exclusive external combustion engine with John Hamer on there. And thank you, as I say, everybody in chat for joining us. And remember, whatever happens, have a laugh and good night.
Good night. Thanks for watching.